And talking about things people were talking about, we're going to move to the second segment, and that's Speaking Facts, one of our favorites here, of course. We're going to give you a quote from the NBA landscape, whether it's the media, whether it's a player, a coach, you know how this works. And we're just going to straight up tell you, is this person speaking facts, or are they just completely wrong with this one? And we'll start with Stephen A. Smith. I mean, how could we not? He tends to make his way, Mr. 30,000 takes a year. And he said something on First Take this week that we've kind of been talking about with some of these other teams recently or previously in the episode, but haven't really keyed in on these two teams. He said, I respect what I'm seeing from the Philadelphia 76ers, but the Milwaukee Bucks are the team to beat in the East. Matt, is Stephen A. Smith speaking facts?
Yes and no. I'm kind of doing a cop-out. They're the defending champions. They have arguably the best player in the NBA who's proved it in the playoffs with Giannis. But I gotta be Homer here, and I gotta say it's the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers offense with Embiid and Harden is unguardable in every, and I know it's been 5 games, but they've shared the court for 262 possessions. And they're in the 100th percentile in points per 100 possessions, 100th percentile effective field goal percentage, and 100th percentile in free throw rate.
That's pretty good.
The only thing they're kind of not, their rebounding has kind of faltered a little bit, but that's just learning where people get position on the floor kind of thing. Harden's always been a really good guard rebounder, and Embiid's a really good rebounder too. So I just think it's such a perfect meld of Hall of Fame talent, and no other duo in the East or the NBA has something that's that perfect of a fit. And I think that makes Philadelphia the team to beat in the East and in the NBA.
Yeah, I think I can't say he's not speaking facts. Like, they're literally the defending champions. For that reason, I don't think it's that big of a take. For all the reasons Matt said, I think you could make the case the Sixers are the most dangerous team to go up against if you are. And maybe that's counterintuitive, but I don't know if that makes them the team to beat. The way I view it is because Milwaukee, they won the championship, they've retained the core of their team, and they're almost exactly the same team. Giannis is the same guy. Nothing really has changed.
They're coasting a bit, Milwaukee.
Now they're probably coasting. So for all those reasons, I think they're probably still the team to beat, but Philly very dangerous.
Yeah. Well. And Bobby Portis has taken a step up, which has been refreshing to see. Not just a hit or miss guy now a full rotational piece starting for them now, where he's been a bench guy. I'm gonna say Stephen A. Smith is not speaking facts. I get they're the defending champions, but Giannis was a back-to-back MVP, and no one was zoning in on him in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Like, oh, we got to get Giannis. We got to beat this guy, right? No one was scared of him in the playoffs, and they did it once. Yeah, that's great. The team to beat in the East is still the Miami Heat. They're their number 1 team in the East. I'm sorry. They were in the finals 2 years ago. We talked about them earlier in this episode. They've been the number 1 seed basically all season through injuries. Playing Gabe Vincent and Yerk Steven and however you say his name, it hasn't mattered. And I'm not going to say it's a team to beat that the team's going to eye in on when they hit the playoffs. Like, we got to beat the Heat to get through the East, because that's not really how any team's going to look at these playoffs, because I really think the East is so competitive right now, and I think the Eastern playoffs is going to be fun to watch. But I think if you have to pick one team who's been the most dominant this season, who's playing the best basketball all the way through the season, it's the Miami Heat. So to me, I don't think there is, quote unquote, a team to beat in the East, where maybe in the West you can say, hey, the Suns are the team to beat, or hey, the Warriors are the team to beat. I don't think that we have that in the East. But if there's one team to make this take about Stephen A., it has to be the Miami Heat, in my opinion.
Fair. That's fair. I can't.
When I don't think you have a top 5 player in the conference, I can't call you the team to beat.
I would say Jimmy Butler is a top 5 player in the conference.
Harden, Embiid, Giannis, Durant, and
Jimmy Butler.
I could put him 5. I could put him 5.
You take him over Tatum?
Yeah,
it's close.
You have to. Terry Rozier's in the East, though.
Terry Rozier, number 5. True,
Terry
I forgot
Rozier
about
is in the
Terry
East.
Rozier. He had a 30-piece against Brooklyn the other night.
Hey, he's a 30-piece every night. He's actually on a tear right now, but that's for another episode, man. I hope they make the playoffs. For the second speaking facts point, Jake, you want to take this one? I think you got the IG post up right now.
I got into it a little bit with our buddy Max Gordon of Brainiac Hoops. Obviously, a very contentious battle for MVP going on right now between Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, both phenomenal players. And maybe there will come a time where on this show we will go in depth about both cases towards the end of the year. But he had a post that caught my eye that said, because usually, Jokic, you could probably make the argument he might be a better player offensively than Joel Embiid just because of his distribution. I've never heard anyone say he's a better defender until our guy Brainiac Hoops, go follow him on Insta, follow us on Insta as well while you're at it, said it has always been Jokic greater sign Embiid. The biggest difference is Jokic's ability to play 1 through 5 on offense and defend 1 through 5 on the other end. As if that is something that Joel can't do. So naturally, being that we're straight
I'd love
backs,
to see Jokic try to guard Harden in an NBA Finals game.
it would be pretty funny, right? It would be like the one Rudy Gobert where he's like dancing with Steph Curry out on the perimeter. So I had to dig into the statistics. This is what we do. I was on Instagram, got to keep up with the brand, so I fired back. Their percentages when defending ISOs, because his contention was 1 through 5. Embiid is not as good defending as Jokic. And just looking at ISOs, Embiid is in the 94th percentile with 0.54 points per play against isolations. Jokic, on the other hand, is 0.91 points per play, which puts him in the 46th percentile. He literally is a below average defender against isolation. So I think I have some other stats as well, but I'll kick it to you guys before we go too deep. Is he speaking facts here? Is Max Gordon, our guy Brainiac Hoops, speaking facts?
No. I said last year, and I'll say this year, Nikola Jokic is the best offensive player in the NBA. Yeah. I still think that. He is...
Whoa. All right, you can go. You can go.
He averages like 25 points, 12 assists, and he's shooting like 56% from the field. I know Sixers Twitter likes to make fun of him because Nuggets fan call him one of the greatest of all time. He's really, really good, but if you only look at advanced stats and you say, oh, he's better than Larry Bird, which was a poll that came out. It's a blind thing. And
stats are a heck of a drug.
Yeah, yeah, they're good in moderation, and I know you can't just look at a spreadsheet and say he's better. Jokic is a phenomenal player. Him and Embiid are essentially, if you're being completely objective about it, it's a tie, and it's almost personal preference at this point. But saying he's a better defender is just. What are we talking about?
It's a bridge too far. It's a bridge too far.
If you look at advanced defensive stats, which Daryl Morey has said are garbage, the available advanced defensive metrics are garbage. And this is Daryl Morey, the king of advanced stats in the NBA. And it shows he's better than Giannis and Embiid in every major advanced defensive stat. That means, the stat's wrong. You gotta say, oh, look at this. Robert Williams is leading the Celtics in win shares. Is he the best player on the Celtics? No. But it's just it's a nice thing to say, oh, wow, he really is a really quality player for them. And people are just going way too far instead of just viewing it as he's improved as a defender, which Jokic has. But he's not better than Joel Embiid.
And before you go, Jake, no, he's not speaking facts, Bernie. I'm sorry, Max. You're not speaking facts. Joel Embiid might be the best defensive center in the league. I know we hate on Gobert on this show. If you want to say Gobert, that's completely fine. You completely have a point for that. But if not, I think Joel is a top 3, top 5, no doubt, center defensively in the league. No one regards Nikola Jokic as that. So I think that's wrong. I also think Matt's not speaking facts that Jokic is the best offensive player in the league. It's still Kevin Durant. It's not close to me. We just talk about how stats are crazy and people want to point out, oh, he's a playmaker. He is a playmaker, but I mean, you can't look at the number of his assists per game when his highest games and assists per game are all losses. He has the Nuggets have a losing record when Jokic has 11 or more assists. I mean, he's a product of everything has to run through him, right? But to the defensive thing, no, he's not speaking facts. Embiid's better.
It's what we talked about with Luka. We're like, yeah, get your usage in, dude. You're going to OT, going 44, 10, and 10 with 4 blocks and 3 steals to beat the Pelicans. To beat the Pelicans, you have to go to OT, like, and put up this crazy line. Like, there used to be a day where MVP, your team actually had to be good to win that award. I mean, the Nuggets are okay. They're a playoff team, but they're on the fringe of the play-in. And to go after the defense, as you said, there aren't really a ton of really reliable defensive metrics. I like to look at, I think points per play is actually a really good indicator because you can kind of single out play types and scenarios in which these players are, the result is a direct, I guess, or the result of the play is directly impacted by their skill versus like a defensive rating, which Jokic leads, defensive win shares, Jokic leads. That's all kind of team-based. When you look at their points per play when guarding pick-and-roll ball handlers, Joel is in the 87th percentile, while Jokic is in the 72nd percentile. Again, Embiid pretty market advantage. And the ultimate, this should end the conversation here, statistic. Against post-ups, both being the best, their claim for the best center in the league, Embiid or Jokic, Embiid, points per play against post-ups, 71st percentile. Nikola Jokic against post-ups is in the 23rd percentile in the NBA. I don't have it up in front of me right now. I would bet you that would probably be like last on his team in terms of like points per play against post-ups. Scoring frequency when he's posted up of 56%. Don't ever mention Jokic's name next to Embiid when we're talking defense ever again. That's all I have to say.
As a center, you didn't mention, but as a center, Max Gordon's point was 1 through 5. He ain't even a better at his own position,
right?
Guarding. So, all right, we'll move on. That's all we have for Speaking Facts. Kept it quick, but that was fun. Last thing we got to hit on is the NFL. We've seen, I know it's the offseason. We've seen some trades before we get into it. I mentioned at the top of the show, our guy Matt Valavinos and James Jackson are going to be on the YouTube. That video will come out Friday.